You know what nobody tells you when you start a creative business? That the marketing part, the part that feels the most confusing, the most overwhelming, the most like something you did not sign up for is actually not that complicated. It just feels that way because nobody has ever laid it out for you in a way that makes sense for what you do. And that is exactly what this podcast has been about. Taking your real questions, the ones you sent in, but also the ones you've asked me on coaching calls, and answering them with real strategy. So, how this actually works for quilters, crafters, and creative entrepreneurs. Today's a special episode. It is the last one in this season of Hey Tori, and I wanted to use it to do two things: say thank you and answer the last question I got by giving you the big picture. Because if you've been listening to this series, you've been getting pieces of a puzzle. Today, I want to show you the whole puzzle, what it looks like when it's finished. So, hey, welcome to Hey Tori, the podcast where I answer your real digital marketing questions from quilters, crafters, and creative entrepreneurs just like you. I'm Tori McElwain, digital marketing coach, quilter, and founder of the Digital Marketing Magic Coaching Program, or the DMMC. If you have been here since the beginning of this mini series, thank you. I mean that. Every question you sent in, every episode you listened to, every time you shared this, that is what made this series what it is. And if this is your very first episode you are hearing, welcome. You picked a good one to start with because today we are zooming out. I'm going to walk you through what a complete digital marketing system actually looks like for a creative business. It's not theory, it's the actual moving parts. I think what surprised me most about doing this mini series was the amount of people who asked me about it. Though I only got a handful of questions directly from listeners, there were a lot of comments outside of the questionnaire, outside of emails or DMs that I got that were just, hey, I saw you were doing this. And it gave me an opportunity to share more about what I do. And I'm really, really enjoying having a little platform that you've all given me. Um, and I'm really grateful that you've been tuning in when I release random episodes every like 2 to 3 days. And I do want to be upfront with you. This is the last episode of this season, and I'm going to tell you more about why toward the end. But for now, I want to make sure this episode gives you something you can actually use, a clear picture of the system I teach so you can see where you are and where to go next. And I'm going to be answering the last question I received because it's a doozy. So, this last question is, like I said, it's a doozy, but it's how to figure out what you should focus on in your business or how to set priorities. Meaning, what do you look at when you advise someone that they should focus more on X and less on Y, or do X first and then Y? That type of thing. So, this is a complicated question because it really depends on a lot of different things. So, I'm going to use this episode to talk about the general system that I teach and how to diagnose a problem. Okay. So let's start with the word system because I think that word scares some people. Maybe it sounds corporate, maybe it sounds a little theoretical. Sometimes it just sounds complicated. It sounds like maybe something that requires a team of like 10 people and like a six-figure budget, but it's none of those things. So a digital marketing system is like a plan. It's a plan. It's simply the way you find your people, you build relationships with them, and invite them to buy from you. That's it. It has three jobs in digital marketing anyway. And when those three things are working together, even at a basic level, your business starts to grow in a way that feels sustainable instead of chaotic. So here's what I see with most creative entrepreneurs when they come to me. They're doing those three things, and usually one of those really well. Um, Usually it's the middle one. It's the relationship building part because, quilters and crafters are generally, maybe even naturally, it's very generous and community minded. But the other two pieces are typically what's missing or might be disconnected. And so they're working really, really hard. They're showing up every day and wondering why the sales are not matching the effort. So that's not a talent problem. That is a system problem. And a system problem has a system solution. So inside the DMMC, we build every member's marketing system around three pillars. And you've heard me talk about this throughout the series. Today, I want to lay them out together so you can see how they connect, because the magic is not in any one of them. The magic is in how they work together. So pillar 1 is the lead strategy. This is how you get the right people into your world. Not just any people, but the right ones. The ones you actually want, the ones who actually want what you make, who are already looking for it, and who will eventually become your buyers. Your lead strategy answers 2 questions. Who is my ideal customer, and where do they spend their time? So we talk a lot about this in a couple of episodes, and really focused on one of these questions on one of these episodes. But these 2 questions are the foundation of so many things. I would even go as far to say they're the foundation for everything. And then that answers a third question, which is, what am I offering them that is valuable enough that they are willing to give me their email address in exchange for it? So that exchange, something free and valuable in return for an email address, is what we call a lead magnet. It might be a free mini pattern or full-size pattern, a fabric selection guide, a printable planner for quilt show, something your ideal customer genuinely wants. And the place where that exchange happens is a landing page. One page, one purpose. Here is what you get, and here is where to sign up for it. That is your lead strategy in its probably simplest form. So identifying the right people, showing up where they are, offering them something valuable, bringing them onto your email list. Because your email list is the only audience you truly own. Like Instagram can change its algorithm, Facebook can shut down a group, but your email list, that is yours. Pillar 2 is your nurture strategy. And I also call this your content strategy, because the way you nurture your audience is through the content you create and share. This is the part most creative entrepreneurs are already doing in some capacity. You're posting on social media, you're showing your work, you are sharing tips and processes and behind the scenes moments, and all of that is good. That is nurture. But here's where it kind of breaks down for a lot of people. They are nurturing on like rented land. And that's the only place they're doing it. All of their relationship building is happening on a platform they don't own and cannot control. And there is no bridge from that to their email list, or there's no bridge to that to their offer. They also tend to not really utilize their email list, or they may not have long form content like a blog or a long form video. Some of them don't even have a website. And those are things that actually belong to you. Well, besides you do. That's the thing that actually belong to you. So a strong nurture strategy, it tends to have layers. Your newsletter is like the centerpiece. That is where you share your most valuable, most personal content with the people who have already raised their hand and said they want to hear from you. Your social media, it's top of funnel. It supports the newsletter. It is like the welcome mat, but it's not the house. And if you have long form content like a blog, podcast, or YouTube channel, that content works for you over time. Someone can find a blog post you wrote like 6 months ago and discover you today, maybe even years ago. It works really well with SEO and through search. So the key to making nurture sustainable is not creating more content. It's getting more mileage out of the content you already create. So create long form content, write your newsletter, pull social media posts from it, turn a section into a Pinterest pin. That is all repurposing. And it's a secret to showing up consistently without burning out. Hopefully it's a badly kept secret. Okay. The last pillar is the launch strategy. So pillar 3, launch strategy. And this is the one that makes people nervous. The word launch, it sounds big. It sounds like maybe a countdown timer. And you may also have learned more and more about launches, and you may think that this is all about sales pages and webinars, and it can be a whole production. And yeah, it can be that, maybe eventually, but it does not have to be where you start. A launch is simply a plan for introducing an offer to your audience. That's all it is. I like to kind of think of it as a launch is like an event. Like you're getting people ready to come to an event, which is your pattern launch, your workshop launch, your XYZ launch. It's whatever you are offering them. And it's a way to get them excited. So it can be as simple as sending 3 emails to your list about this upcoming offer, maybe a new pattern you just released, or it could be incorporating all those elements with a collaboration with another quilter whose audience overlaps with yours. It can build, it can be big, or it can be very simplified. Inside the DMMC, we actually break launching into stages. If you've never launched anything before, sometimes I suggest you start with something fun and low pressure, like a community building event, something that lets you practice showing up and making these different elements without feeling the pressure to sell anything. Then we build it from there. Your next launch is going to be more intentional. Your third may even be bigger. We're going to what we do is take a look at how the second one goes, and then we tweak or add to the third. And by that time you've done it a few times, it's not scary anymore. And you have a system in place. And it's now just a skill that you have. But here's the thing I really want you to hear. Your launch strategy does not work without the other two pillars. If you do not have people on your email list, that is a lead strategy gap. If the people on your list do not know you, trust you, or feel connected to you, that is a nurture strategy gap. Launching to an audience that is not warmed up is like throwing a party for strangers, right? It does help to have some warm audience on your side. So when all 3 pillars are in place, when you are finding the right people, you're building real relationships with them, and then inviting them to buy with a clear and compelling plan, that is when things start to click. That is when the system works. And honestly, that is why I decided to call it the digital marketing magic, because it kind of feels like magic. Because the results feel disproportionate to the effort. Like you show up in a way that feels aligned and it feels too easy, and you start seeing real results. And it's not because you are doing less, but because everything you're already doing is connected and it's supporting the next piece. You need to be able to diagnose which one of these pillars is lacking, and then that is your priority for the next 90 days or for the next launch, or it kind of depends on how your system is running, right? So if you have a small email list and you're launching to it and people are buying and they're excited, then it may be a lead strategy problem. And that is something you need to focus on. If you are getting, you've got thousands of people on your email list. So you have 9,000 people on your email list and no one is buying. That could be a nurture or a launch issue. And that's when you get into how are you introducing your offers? Are we doing this in a routine way so your customers are ready for it? And there's a lot to look into, but that is how, if you know how the system works together, you can get in it and figure out where the issue is, and then you fix it. And it may be a little thing here, it may be a little thing there. But when you figure out what it is, you can get in and you can fix it. And I'm telling you, like I've told you throughout this entire mini series, this is not about what you're offering. Typically, again, not a talent problem. What you're offering is typically so thought out and beautiful and wonderful, as so many creative businesses that I've worked with. They have these amazing, wonderful offers. The issue is usually one part of these pillars. So I do want to take a minute to share what I've seen, what I've been told really what happens when creative entrepreneurs, they build this system, because the results are real and they come from real people in my program. So I've seen first-time launchers sell over $50,000 in revenue from a subscription offer, right? Her very first launch built on this system that we just talked about. I have seen a quilting teacher go from 0 online presence to 8 workshop students and 4 guild bookings in 6 weeks. I have seen a website redesign paired with strategic outreach help a pattern designer build up to a just about 6-figure income because she has targeted each of these pillars in her own way. And I have seen someone, a first course launch, bring in $6,000 from someone who had never sold a workshop before with putting these different pieces in place and adding ads. So every single one of these results, they come from the same system. Lead strategy to find the right people, nurture strategy to build the relationship, launch strategy to make the offer. And the specifics they were different for every person. They're different offers, different audiences, different platforms, but the framework was the same. And that is what I want you to take away from this episode, but also this mini series. The system works. It just has to be built to fit you and your business. So I do want to take a moment to pull back the curtain for a moment and show you something. So throughout this series, I've talked a lot about some of the tools we have inside the DMMC, from the time study to my AI tools and everything in between. And there is one more I haven't talked about so much, and it's actually one I just want to touch on today. When you hear all these different pieces of what a digital marketing system can look like, it can feel really overwhelming. When you decide to join the DMMC, you'll see our library of resources. And again, it can feel like a lot. One thing I did was to add a program navigator who knows the entire DMMC resource library. This is where you can jump in and tell it where you are in your business, or maybe something you're struggling with, and it can point you to the right resource. So even if I'm not available, it can help point you to where you need to go. The whole point of the navigator is that you do not have to figure out the right starting point completely on your own. It meets you where you are. And that's the same philosophy behind the entire DMMC. It is not one size fits all. It's a system that is built around your business, your audience, you, your stage of growth. Okay, so I want to talk to you for a minute, not as a coach, but maybe kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit, just as Tori. When I started this podcast, I wanted to create something that answered the questions I kept hearing from coaching calls, from in-person talks, from DMs, from emails, like real questions from creative business owners who are trying to figure out this digital marketing thing. Felt like most of the advice out there was not built for them. And you showed up, you listened, you sent in your questions, hopefully you shared a few episodes with your business friends. And that meant more to me than you probably know. I've learned a lot about myself. Many of you know that I have been a co-host of the Quilting on the Side podcast for the last 2 years. We have over 100 episodes now out there in the world, which seems crazy. Um, I was more of the behind the scenes person. I was very quiet, especially on the first couple of seasons, and Andy had to ask me to speak up more. And now I feel like I'm ready to share my voice a little more consistently and louder. And this podcast has warmed me up for that. And I'm really appreciative of that. That doesn't mean Quilting on the Side is going anywhere at this moment. We are still planning to keep going at this moment. And this is the last episode of this season. And I want to be honest about why. So I'm closing the DMMC for the spring and for probably most of the summer. And that is so I can concentrate on H&H, concentrate on the new members that are coming in, concentrate on June, which is like a huge birthday month for our family. And then I'll be back. I'll open up the DMMC again. Usually I do it pretty quietly, but I'm not saying goodbye. I am saying for right now, this is where this season lands. Every episode in the season will stay up and available to you, um, mainly through the not podcast, through the blog post. You can go back and re-listen. You can share them with someone who needs to hear them, whether it's now or in the future. The advice in these episodes, it's not going anywhere, and neither am I. If anything in the series has resonated with you, if you have recognized yourself in the questions, if you have started thinking differently about your marketing, if you have taken even one Hey Tori takeaway and put it into action, then this podcast did its job. And I am proud of that. And if you are sitting here thinking, okay, I see the system, I understand lead strategy, nurture strategy, launch strategy, but I do not want to build this alone. That is exactly why the Digital Marketing Magic Coaching Program exists. So inside the DMMC, you do get a full roadmap. You get live group coaching with me every month. You get one-to-one coaching if you want it. And you get all 5 of our custom AI tools that I built. And you get a community of quilters and crafters who are on the same journey and cheering each other on. And the system I laid out for you today, that is what we build together inside the program, piece by piece, customized to you and your business and at your pace. So if you want to see if it's the right fit for you, the best first step is a 30-minute strategy session with me. It's free. We'll look at where your business is right now. We'll talk through what is working, what is not, and figure out your next step. There's no pressure. There's no pitch, just clarity. And the link is in the show notes. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for trusting me with your time, your questions, and your businesses. It's been an honor to be in your earbuds or in your car speakers. Keep creating, keep marketing, and remember, you do not have to figure this out alone. I'm Tori McElwain, your digital marketing coach, and I will see you when I see you.